Hello everybody, Mannix here, going to be doing another knife review. This one's going to be on the Ganzo G739. Again, another amazing high quality knife by this company, controversial company. Now this knife, the design they ripped off it's the Benchmade Griptilian line. Very sought after, very well known, very world renowned. They basically just copied the design. It's not the exact same thing, it's a little bit longer. Let's just say it's heavily influenced by the Benchmade Griptilian. Most likely, obviously, but it's not a direct copy, it's not a clone. They're not taking it and saying, this is a Benchmade. No, it's a Ganzo G739. But that being said, it's heavily influenced by the Griptilian, but it's not quite the same. Again, it kind of reminds me of the Sogzilla. Sog did something very similar to what Spyderco does with their Endoras, and that got people very mad, but regardless, keeping the politics out of it, just looking at the knife for what it is, for what it costs, how it functions, how it feels, it's absolutely amazing. Just 10 out of 10. Just great knife for the money. So let's get right in. We want to do specs, but there are no specs on this knife anywhere that I'm looking anyway. I looked all over the internet. Nobody can tell me. So instead, we are going to measure it with my little phone app right here. Blade length of about 3 and 9 out of 32 inches right there. And we have a handle length of almost 4 inches on the nose. So about 8.5 inches overall length. I don't have the exact measurements for you, sorry. However, I can get you the exact measurement on its weight. So this one weighs 4.77 ounces. A little bit heavier for some people's taste. I said this before, but I personally do not care whatsoever about a knife's weight, basically at all. I've carried knives that were like 11 ounces and it didn't bother me one single bit. But if you're worried about weight and concerned, it's slightly heavier. It doesn't feel that heavy though, the balance of it and for what you're getting and its size and all that. So it's not, it's really not a big deal. But some people are like, they don't want to go above the 3.5 ounce mark or the 4 ounce mark or whatever it is. It's almost 5 ounces, so it's slightly heavier for what you're getting for its blade shape, or excuse me, its length and all, but it's really not a big deal. So we have a 440C blade on here. So it's very good. I've talked about this before. 440C is adequate. A lot of people are like, oh, it sucks now because there's better steels out there. That's because something out there that is better quality and a little harder doesn't make everything under it bad. It just makes it, that means they're not as good as that higher quality steel. With that being said, how much are you paying? Look at the price point. And that being said, 440C has worked fine for many years, and it still does. And there's very high quality knives that still use it too. Gets very sharp. Not like the sharpest in the world, but it gets sharp and it retains an edge for a decent amount of time. Very comfortable hand. I love the orange and black, by the way. That's just that's like my go-to color if I get the option. I love to do that. But they have a regular black handle and a satin blade, I believe, and then they have, I think, an OD green, I believe. I think they have flat G10 scales for an option, but I picked the one that is textured right here, which I like personally. It's a little bit slimmer than a bench. I've had a Benchmade Griptilian before. It's a little slimmer than that. So it's a little slimmer, a little longer, a little more to hold on to, I guess. Personally, I like the thicker handles, but it's still decently thick. We have non-skeletonized steel liners in there, blackened, so that equates to some of the weight. But if you skeletonize those, even heavily, you still only say like maybe, if you're lucky, 0.3 ounces, so it's not that big of a deal. It'll still be kind of a heavier knife anyway. Flicks out very fast, very smooth. Axis lock is great. You can do this all day. Very strong. Lockup, no up and down, just absolute rock solid. There's a hair of side to side, but I can adjust that out. I can tighten it a little bit, but then it will be a little bit more difficult to flick, and that's why I like to keep it slightly loose, because I like being able to do this very easily, because it's very fun. Very simple design here. We just have a pivot screw, then we have 2 body screws, pocket clip. Ganzo uses this on so many of their knives, but it's basically the Spyderco pocket clip. If you're used to that, if you like it, it functions just like that. It's rounded, very good tension, not too tight, not too loose, simple, nice looking. That's going to be poking out of your pocket. So there's a little bit more there. Some people don't like that because you have a fear that's going to knock out or whatever. I understand. Little lanyard hole there, that's cool. I wish they put like a pillar or something right there, just so it like looped through the pillar. It's not just kind of like loose through the scales, but it doesn't matter. It's just an aesthetic thing to me. Just very simple, very cool. The blade shape, very proven. I would say that's a spear point. I almost want to say it's a drop point. I almost want to say it's a spear point. I don't know. It's kind of redundant. It's just, it pierces very well because it's kind of slim towards the middle right there, but you have a decent amount of belly, and it's full, actually it's not a full flat grind, but it is a flat grind. It looks like, love the black on there, love orange and black. Oh, it's so cool, so cool. Very comfortable, very versatile handle. We got some jimping right here. A little bit on the blade. It's almost not functional at all, but it's okay. comfortable enough. You know, it's not an extreme design, doesn't have like crazy finger choils in it or anything. So it's just, you can only get so far with a more versatile design like this, but the idea is that it's versatile. It'll fit just about every single person's hand just fine. Strong lockup, fast, good steel, 20 bucks. You get so much value for 20 bucks in this thing. I don't know if I mentioned the price or not, but that's very cheap. Companies could easily charge maybe like 40 bucks if they sold this, but it's 20. That's pretty crazy. 20 bucks. And if Benchmade made this knife, they'd sell it for maybe like 80 bucks or something. So it's really, really crazy. The value you get with these Ganzos is insane. And a lot of people don't like them because, you know, they say they steal designs and this and that. And I understand. But again, they're not making copies and clones and like fakes. You know, they're just making, well, I guess you could call them copies almost, but heavily influenced designs. And a lot of people don't appreciate that. But they're not doing anything illegal. Now, there's one little issue with this knife. I don't know if they'd all have this, but you hear that? Here. Little something's rattling in there. I thought it was the stop pin, but it's not. I have no idea what it is. I took it apart and I tightened the screws up. It's probably something with the axis lock right here. That's what I'm assuming it is. But I've had $90 knives that had rattling bits and things inside of them, so it doesn't bother me that much. None of the Ganzos I ever have had that issue except for this one, so... Anyway, if you like the way the knife looks, if you like the Benchmade Griptilian, you always wanted one, but you want one that's kind of like it, you don't feel like spending 90 bucks or whatever it is, you might want to give this knife a shot because the quality is there. The design is obviously there because they basically just took a design that's already proven. I know, a lot of people don't like that, but if you're looking at it from a user's perspective and a consumer's perspective, yeah, you just kind of want what works for you, basically. So, again, a lot of people get mad because of the controversy behind Ganzo and how they steal designs and this and that, but then they type these comments on their phones that stole designs from other phones. That's all made in Taiwan and places like that, so it's just kind of hypocritical to me when people get all upset about them stealing knife designs. But regardless, not going to get too much into that. It's just an absolutely outstanding knife. A little bit of a shorter review there because there's really not a whole lot to say about it. I have no complaints. It's 10 out of 10. Great, amazing knife for 20 bucks. Again, it's suspiciously low of a price. They could easily get away with a much higher price. So anyway, thanks for watching.